Okay, welcome all to another episode of the Cruel Philosopher podcast. I am your host, the Cruel Philosopher, and I'm joined by a special guest, a guest co-host today, someone who I go way back in time with, really way back. I've known this person since I was a teenager, really.
Ooh,
Uh,
half your life. In
Bree,
15 years.
yeah,
You old.
I know we both getting old.
Chill out.
Uh, Brianna, Bree. I don't know what
Sir,
name she's
sir.
going by on this podcast. Really, are you using the alias?
Alias. I'm gonna say yes. Let's use my
Your
stage
stage name, your
name
artist name?
because shameless plug. Do have a song coming out.
Yeah. So tell me your name.
It's Saryn Vio. Saryn like Sharon, Vio like bio. Not Serene, not Siren. Saryn. I don't want to be a siren. I'm good. Go ahead.
Did I ever ask you where that name came from?
Probably, and I don't have an interesting backstory because it was literally between that and like Indigo Soul and a lot of eclectic name choices that I came up with a friend in Chicago back in 2014. And yeah, it was like
So you just
Saryn, Soul, and Indigo, Vio, and I was like, oh, I like Saryn, I like Vio.
so you just pulled this name out your ass, pretty much.
Not mine.
I got you. Yeah, no, she's a dope artist. I've heard her listen to a couple of her stuff. I heard the snippet for the new song that she had in your stories. It sounds pretty good too.
That is
Um,
my baby. I love that song. I
so
can't
yeah, no,
wait to
yeah,
drop it.
definitely check out her music. But yeah, I have her here, co-hosting with me today. Like I said, me and her go way back. She was on my first podcast, the Ketism podcast that I had, way back when
I
she was
don't.
still living in Chicago.
I mean, no, not yet. Because if I was on that podcast, I hadn't moved yet.
I thought
Because
maybe you
that
was
was
like
in
visiting the
person.
city.
Was I? I
I
think
know
that
you
was
was
right
with
before I
somebody.
left.
Yeah.
I think that's right before I left.
Okay. Right before she. Yeah. So it's been a while, but I've had her on the podcast before. So, and that's back when we was recording in person instead of over Zoom. So
You've
this
come a
shouldn't be.
ways.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, it's good to have you. Uh, you know, it, she might be nervous a little bit at first because it is, recording, talking, and knowing people are going to be listening to what you're saying is a little bit at least for me it is anyway, self-conscious you get sometimes about, oh man, do I want to say this? But trust me, 10 minutes into this, you're gonna think it's just me and you, and then at the end you're gonna remember, oh wow, a bunch of people, 13,000 people on TikTok are gonna be listening to this. So
Um, thank you for that, Mr.
so we decided that we wanted to start today's show speaking about Brickgate. All right. So if you don't know, there was a video that a woman put out after she claimed she was assaulted by a gentleman with a brick because she refused to give this gentleman her phone number.
Yes,
That
in
was
a
the
nutshell.
initial story that hit my timeline.
Same. My YouTube timeline. Yours is Twitter. Mine is YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Story came out, and she had like a swollen side of her face. It looked really bad.
It's like an extra face.
Yeah.
It looked like a gremlin, not for nothing. That was the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, it was really bad. And then the conversation on social media started on, black men, black women, the lack of protection of black women by black men. What is your responsibility as a black man if you are around and you witness a situation like that jump off? What should you do? What should you not do? If you don't get involved, are you smart or are you a bitch? So, um, I
Ouch.
guess we should start with, what is the responsibility of a black man if he sees a woman and a man getting into an altercation? He doesn't know either of these people, so he has no information about them, no relationship. he sees two strangers getting into an altercation. Um, what should his response be?
Can we be a little bit more specific in the sense of, because in this particular example, there were at least from the video 2 to 3 men standing around. So are you coming away from that and you're speaking of just 3 people involved, or is it this a similar scenario?
Let's use this scenario. What should the men in that scenario have done?
They should have helped. They
Okay.
should have helped.
All right. Now,
Point blank.
okay, when we say help, what do you mean? What do you mean by help?
Help in the sense of you have a couple of options. If you don't want to get yourself involved and potentially a brick thrown in your face, call the police.
Okay.
You could either or cause a distraction to kind of get him away from her. Um, or I think a lot of people's first thought would be strength in numbers. There's more of y'all than there is of him. You're stronger because there's more than you. You can just, yoke him up a little bit, get him away from her, tell her to go about her business and be done with it. That didn't have to happen. I'm sorry. It didn't have to happen. I did hear that I heard one guy that was there. It's on TikTok apparently. He was there and
I
he
saw.
said, you saw that, right? He was saying that she was taunting him and whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. I feel like we, in our current day and age, people lack the desire to just walk away from a situation. It's always reactionary. I have to react to this. It has to be addressed right now. There's no like, you know what, I'm bigger than this, or I'm not trying to go to jail for you because internet sleuths, they gonna find him. They will find him. It's like it didn't have to happen. I understand a lot of men's rhetoric these days of, I'm not helping out because I don't want to put my life in danger, or black women are always talking about how they don't need us, they this and that, but we do, you know. I'm the first to admit that we do need our men, but we also need our men to be men.
Okay. So let's walk this slow because
Hmm.
it's so. If I had to summarize, you're saying that the men should have gotten involved by either a uh calling the police after the fact,
Hmm.
like so
No,
after the
during.
okay. What point during though? Like so you're saying call the police when people are arguing?
Yeah, like once you see, maybe that's just me.
No,
I
no.
feel like
It's
I
just,
was
yeah. It's
raised to be hyper aware of my surroundings. I don't know if that's because I'm a woman or if that's just something that I got from my dad, because my dad he's a very hyper aware person. He's always like, say for instance, you and him were talking,
mm,
he's not looking you in the eye. He's constantly looking around. So I just picked that up.
yeah.
So it's like once you can pick up that these two are it's getting a little crazy. It's starting to go in that direction. You know what?
Okay.
One of us should call. And I did hear also that he threatened her first. And he said he had the brick in his hand and he said, oh, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So there's enough time in that moment to say, hey, yo, bro, I'm about to call the police. Like, chill out.
Okay. So you're saying call the police once you see the verbal altercation kind of starting to boil,
Yeah.
so to speak. Okay, you can do that. Also, there are the strength in numbers. So you guys can intervene together to kind of uh dissuade
Disarm.
him from escalating to violence. And there's one
Hmm.
more thing you said. I slipped my mind.
I said to disarm, strengthen numbers, or it was probably to just walk away. Or no, there was multiple of them around. What was I
Yeah,
saying?
it was. I know it was numbers. It was the police. Maybe it was to kind of just like verbally get involved beforehand and try to like you know calm him down, something like that. But so let's just deal with those points there.
Hmm.
I understand why people believe that men should have this innate uh ability to deal with conflict, but that's not real, right? There's this idea that because we were born with penises, that we have this that we have this ability to deal with conflict in ways that are better than the way women deal with conflict, and that's not true,
I don't
right?
believe
Like,
that.
huh?
I don't believe that.
Well, no, you do because you're saying that as men they should have gotten involved. You said that we need our men, but we need men to be men. In that
Conflict or
statement,
physical.
yeah, you think that
Conflict could be anything. It could be social, it could be verbal, it could be physical. This was a physical altercation. Physically, you guys are stronger. You're
yes.
more.
What I'm saying is, well, physically, men are stronger than women on
Mhm,
average.
mhm.
This men on this would be a man versus man beef. So we don't know if those guys thought they were physically stronger than the guy who hit homegirl in the face with a brick. So that's number one. Two,
Okay.
kind of just going back to my point. The point that I was making was there's this assumption that because we are men that we okay, and I understand you trying to differentiate because there are all types of conflict. There's this belief that men are innately better at dealing with physical conflict than women are, just because we are men. And I'm here to dispel that belief. That is not true. Okay. Take me, for example. I am someone who does not like physical conflict.
I mean, that's a given.
I'm glad you know. I'm glad you know. So we out somewhere and something about to jump off. Hey, man, you know?
Like, yo, she got the taser.
Yeah,
She got the
exactly.
pepper spray.
I am not a physically, you know, uh, gifted man. So I don't involve myself with physical violence. I don't
Mhm.
I, I don't even like verbal confrontations with strangers.
Really?
With strangers, no. I don't get into like arguments with people I don't know.
Do you like stutter? Like how does it go for you? I'm not encouraging this, obviously. I just want to put that out there. But if you were to get into a verbal altercation with someone, do you feel like you can't hold your ground, or it's just like not worth it?
No, it's because as a man, and I think this is where there might be some difference between men and women.
Hmm.
Any confrontation you get into with a man or a woman at that can escalate to violence, right? If you
True.
if you're arguing with a man, he can be violent. If you're arguing with a woman, she can get another man and sick him on you, so that can get violent. And so you just have to just weigh what's worth escalating to violence.
Hmm.
And it's like most things when you view it through that lens, it's like it ain't worth it really, right? So yeah, I might allow people to get away with more than I should around me, but it's like okay, I'm fine. I'm not gonna make the big deal out of this because I don't want it to go somewhere.
Right. I can respect that.
Simply because we're born male does not mean we are born to deal with physical conflict. Some guys don't have the personality for it. Like they could be big, but they're big lovers. They're not people who can fight or who want to fight or who can deal with, violence. He's just going to get his ass beat because he's not a violent guy. He's just big and cuddly. That's who he is. Yeah,
You can be big, cuddly, and still intimidating.
but that's not who he is. That's what I'm trying to explain. It's like, yes, he's a man, but that's not his personality.
That's understood, but so long as you, because it, dang, I would have to do my research on this, but there is an art to perception.
There
If
is.
you are perceived to be intimidating, that you're less likely to go up against someone who looks like they could break you in half, as opposed to someone of a smaller stature.
That is true. Here's the thing,
So,
though.
mhm,
You never know when somebody's going to call your bluff.
you take that chance. We take that chance every day.
I agree, but you would take that chance with yourself. You wouldn't take that chance for like
I
a
mean,
stranger. That's the thing. Is like why would you take that chance with a stranger? So I understand women. They were disappointed at the dudes who were around, but I understand their perspective because you know if if an altercation does turn violent, and let's say God forbid it turns like deadly violent,
mhm,
it ain't like the community is gonna look after your family or
that's
your
very
or
true.
your kids or your parents.
That's very true.
No, you'll be a headline or like a sentence in a news story on News 12,
Not a
local news.
sentence.
Yeah, and that's it. Everyone will go about with their day. That's kind of how these things play out. So, I think women are mistaken to believe because we are male, we are better at dealing with physical violence. That is the first thing I want to say. Second thing I wanted to say about this situation is there is something called the bystander effect that no one talks about,
Elaborate.
right? So the bystander effect is something that happens when a crowd of people or a group of people are witnessing a altercation, even a violent one,
Mm.
where people are less likely to get involved the more people are around watching the violent situation. It sounds counterintuitive because you'd be like, well, if there's more people around, it should increase the likelihood that somebody will get involved. But that's not the case with the bystander effect because
No.
everyone believes that somebody else is going to do something. So
Hmm.
if everyone believes somebody else is going to do something, then by that same token, no one will do anything because everyone thinks that somebody else is going to do something.
I don't know if that applies in this situation only because, hear me out. Like I said, there was only a couple of them, one, and two, the guy came out later on and said we weren't about to help her. He physically said if it were to happen again, I would still stand there and watch.
I saw that video.
That
Now
was
that
really
was
corny.
well, I would have made that video. Let's be clear, but I understand his thought process. I'm not agreeing with it. I understand the thought process of what he was saying. Right? No, 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 no. Hear me out. He was saying, and once again, we part of the problem with this situation, we had her side originally
Mm-hmm.
and only her perspective, and now we're getting one person who was there in his perspective, and
Yeah,
so we're
cowardly.
we're dealing with perceptions of an event,
Mm-hmm.
right? We don't have a video, we don't have anything. We just have people's perception, the victim and the bystander, but that's it. He was saying that he made the videos that he wouldn't have helped her. They know this woman; she's a troublemaker. She he watched her provoke the guy and say hit me, and then the guy ends up hitting her, and
I didn't
then
see that part.
yes, that was he made two videos. I watched both of them. He
Okay.
made one, and then he made a second one.
Mm-hmm.
He also talked about that if the same thing happened again, he wouldn't get himself involved. You know, uh, I wouldn't make that video, but I understand if you are observing an altercation between a man and a woman, and you perceive that the woman is provoking the man in some type because I've seen the hit me in real life.
We all have, because a lot of women feel like they are not going to get hit.
Yeah. So if I saw the hit me take place, and then I saw the guy hit, I don't think I would get involved either.
I would like to know why.
Because you are someone who invited this situation on yourself. Like at that point, I don't view you as a victim. It's not the same as like a woman's walking down the street, a guy asks for her number, she says no, you know, he's like, fuck you then, bitch. And he runs up behind her and hits her in the head with a brick.
Mm-hmm.
That's foul.
Yeah. And that's how she made it out to seem.
I got you. But then when the other are these Africans or Jamaicans,
It-
whatever.
First of all, excuse me.
No, I'm saying it when they when he
I
gave his story, he
mhm.
said no, it was the guy asked for a number and then somehow like some verbal altercation, you know, came up
Ensued. Yeah.
and then she was provoking him and then he picked up the brick and then he hits her. That little part of the provoking that's put into the story
Hmm.
does change my response.
I can agree to that. I'm not gonna lie, because I did wonder what was missing from the story. Obviously, we can't get the guy's side because he was a coward and ran away, and we can only get her percept. I didn't know how to feel once I started hearing that she has a TikToks of going around with skits of walking up and smacking men because she's a black woman and you're a white man, and I'm just like,
Yeah, I saw those. I don't know how that's relevant because that could just be her thing. People do
yeah.
weird stuff on social media. So, you know,
But when you think about it too, and I'm not defending anybody here.
yeah, the
I
obvious disclaimer is the guy with the brick is wrong and he should go to prison or
no, no,
whatever.
no, no. What I was going to say is I kind of wonder, I don't want to say I feel, I wonder if she had a lot of women have a sense of, I guess, entitlement in the sense of as a woman, if you put hands on me, you're automatically wrong. And I wonder if she got that from going viral doing these skits. of being comfortable of having an agreed upon skit where you're able to smack these grown men in the face because they agreed to it. So now you're getting hit with a brick because apparently, allegedly, I don't know, you were goading him on. I didn't see that part. I didn't know that part. That's really unfortunate. I would have appreciated if that was the, I don't know. He, like you said, he's a bystander. She got hit in the face with a brick. If the facts are that you were goading him and telling him to hit you, I would have respected her more had she told the truth. I was wrong for saying that, but he still shouldn't have hit me. That would have I would have been like, dang, girl. Now I'm just like,
Yeah, we agree that he's wrong for hitting her with the brick. That to the point I was
yeah,
making earlier was the disclaimer that I made, a couple of seconds ago was that all of our analysis of this situation is coming with the obvious conclusion that he's wrong for hitting her with the brick. So we're not uh
I'm
disagreeing
more
with
so,
people who believe that he's wrong for hitting her with a brick. We're
right.
just analyzing the conversation that took place around the situation. Are men who witness an altercation between a man and a woman, should they get involved? Are they bitches for not getting involved? Because I saw a lot of that, and one thing that I wanted to bring up is, ladies, if you believe that men should involve themselves with altercations between men and women who they don't know, calling men bitches who don't do that is not going to increase the likelihood that men do that in the future.
I think that's a thing because y'all usually do the opposite of what we say
What do you mean?
in the sense of, okay, and this could be a slippery slope, but say for example, right, if I don't want to be bothered, if I'm walking down the street, I don't want to be bothered. It's not until now, as I guess I've mastered the art of go away.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, when in my younger years, if I say, I'm not interested, instead of saying, okay, queen, or whatever, I don't know, whatever you want to call the person, have a nice day, it's gaslighting. It's why you don't want to give me your number. Oh, you think you better than me. And it's following me. It's waiting until I cross the street. You want to cross the
Mm.
street too. And it's just like, but this is not what I said. I said A and you're doing B. So a lot of women will feel like, and then go back to when we're kids too. You know, the way to get to a person is to harass them, is to bother them, is I'm gonna pull your hair. I'm gonna bully you. It's because I like you. So, and that's for men and women. That's from my experience. From what I remember growing up, a lot of girls would be mean to the guys that they liked, and guys would be mean to the girls that they like. So it's like if I want your protection, I'm not gonna. We're used to being conditioned in the sense of instead of just saying, you know what, I'm feeling vulnerable. I don't feel safe. Can you, as a man who is bigger and stronger, and you're supposed to be leader in the community, can you step into that role? Because I admit that I want to be submissive. I can't do that as a woman, and I need that type of leadership. It's like that's too vulnerable. That's too soft. That's gonna be used against me and that's not going to go the way that I need it to go. So, you know what? In actuality, you're a bitch. You're this, you're that. That's why this. That's why I can't respect you. All these things. I'm not sure if that's making sense, but
It is. You're basically saying that the harshness of the critique is being done because uh
we deem it more effectual than actually just saying what we need.
I'm not sure if you deem it more effective. I'm not sure if you think it's more effective to approach it that way, or if it's just the level of vulnerability to ask for help
Hmm.
is just something that most people don't want to go to. Like
Exactly.
it's viewed
Yep.
as a weakness almost.
It is. It is.
Got you. I did want to ask you something though, because it did pique my interest.
Okay.
Uh, getting approached in the street.
Oh,
What
it's a
what
great
is that?
time.
What is that like? And I say this because I've never like approached somebody in the street as a grown person. I think maybe
Hmm.
as a teenager, I uh,
No, you did it.
tried, but I
Yeah, you.
failed. But I've never, as a grown person, someone over the age of 18, try to approach somebody in the street. So like,
Hmm.
what is that like?
Now or in general?
Has it changed recently? I don't know.
Yeah, and this honestly would have tied perfectly into the whole, single mom topic because now it's
Oh yeah, so because you have a child.
I have a
When you
child,
were
yeah.
single, like
Hmm.
walking the streets as a single woman, what was that like?
It was like walking through the Amazon forest. Like you just don't know what's going to jump out at you. You don't know what you're walking into. You don't know what's going to happen. It literally felt like I a lot of women will attest to this. We avoid going certain places at certain times around certain groups of people because you just know it's going to
I
be
do
like
too,
a
by the way.
pack of hyenas.
I do. But go ahead.
Sorry. You know it's going to be an unpleasant experience.
Like where, what?
And
Give me an example.
like for instance, I mean, I don't want to be specific as to where I grew up,
No, no, no.
but
Just give me like gas station, store. I don't know, like
oh God.
uh
Yeah, places where men are going to frequent, they're just hanging out, they're just,
on the block.
on basically on the block. I'm not going like up. I'm not walking up the block. I'm not. I refuse unless my son is with me. I feel more comfortable having a baby with me than I do by my grown self because they're less likely to, you know,
Behave
behave
inappropriately
like,
with the child
yeah,
present.
exactly. That when he's around, they're more like, oh, let me buy him a bag of chips, let me get him a juice. And they're watching to see like how I'm reacting to them. I purposefully do not, I'll make enough eye contact, but I'm not holding eye contact, that type of situation. Because any type of like invitation, single or with the child, it's like in my experience, I can't speak for all men, it's like men will just go with that and like that's my in and that and lock the door behind me. And it's like, no, I'm literally just okay, you're willing to buy a bag of chips? Cool, that's great. But as a single girl, it was not fun. I remember days that I would be like, dang, I want to go outside, but it's 5 o'clock. They on the block. Nope, not going. Don't want to be bothered. Don't want to be harassed. Don't, you never know. I will say I feel like things have changed in that sense. Men aren't as disrespectful as they used to be, which is weird because you hear all these stories such as this one. Growing up it was a lot worse than it is now in regards to like, well, you a itch then and well F you then. Like,
But
you
that used
not
to
that
happen
good
to you
looking
on like
anyways.
on like a consistent basis where
Consistently, if you say
so
no. But I also have to, I think also it's the way that we say no in a sense.
yeah,
Because
I get that.
if you're spewing vitriol, you're gonna get vitriol back. If you're just like, ugh, ugh, they're gonna be like, well, F you then. But if I find that when I say, you know what, no, thank you, I'm not interested. All right, have a good day. Well, just like that.
Have you ever has approaching you in the street ever been successful? No, I'm serious. Has anyone like actually, I don't know, gotten your phone number and it ended up turning into like a date or something? Or no? Because that's my
No.
thing with the whole approaching women in the street. I just don't see the point of it.
I don't either. I'm not gonna lie to you. As a woman, like y'all better off like in like a safer space, like a supermarket or
I wouldn't do that either. But
really?
yeah. And see this is a good. You know what? We might even get to the rest of our stuff on this outline
I don't
because
think so either.
I just I just have to get to. So all right. So for you, being approached in the street is like it was like terror, but you wouldn't mind being approached in like a supermarket.
Yeah, because it's like we're there for a purpose. If you on a block in the daytime during normal working hours, what are you doing? Do you
Yo,
have a
we have the
life?
same mentality. I was just telling my dad, I was like you shouldn't be able to live and not work. Like there's too many dudes that I see. There was like I don't know if you watched Chris Rock's special, his last special, but he had a
Mm-mm.
joke in there where he said you can tell kind of how good a neighborhood is by the number of women who don't work, right? But if there's a neighborhood with a bunch of men who don't work, you live in a really bad neighborhood.
Mhm.
And he's 100% right.
I
He's 100% right.
agree.
Okay, so for
I
you,
agree.
it's something about the supermarket. You feel like the guy is there with a purpose, but what if he's there to just pick up chicks?
Well, I guess I've never heard of that being the place to pick up chicks because usually, especially at the time that I go, that's when like moms are there and people who work from home, like people who have something going on, like to be picking up chicks at the supermarket, I'm a little concerned for your thought process.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that's not a thing. I've just never thought about that. I don't,
Do you feel
mm,
safer because there's just so many people in a confined space? So like for the most part, nothing terrible is gonna happen to you. Versus in the street, you know, yeah, there's people around, but it's for some reason it's just especially where we live, it's
mhm.
people kind of have a mind my business attitude in the street. It's like,
For sure. I would hate for something to go, God forbid something goes down the streets in New York, because it's just like that could go either way,
mm,
you know. Um, I've lived in other places like
mm-hmm,
Chicago and Georgia, and I feel like if something were to happen in Georgia, everybody's getting together, like, what's going on? What's happening? Are you okay? Here, I don't know. I got my taser, I got my spray just in case. I'm always on guard, and it's exhausting. But to go back to the supermarket question, not only are there cameras, you know, I tend to go to at most two, maybe three supermarkets. So I know the workers, they're familiar with me, I'm familiar with them. And I make it a habit, this is another thing my dad taught me. I make it a habit to familiarize myself with people I know I'm going to be around on a consistent basis. I make sure I talk to you, and so I feel like if something were to go down in my direction, I feel like I'm less likely to be isolated and it actually happen
mm-hmm.
because I'm respectful and I'm polite and I engage in conversation. And that I feel is more welcoming for people to want to help you. But if you are the opposite of that, if you got a bad attitude, if you're mean, if you just like, I'm above talking to you because you're a supermarket employee, then girl, you on your own. So sorry about it.
Okay, so should men just not talk to women in the street? Like like because this fear that you're describing,
Mhm.
I think most men who are worth a damn don't try to holler at women in the street. But because it's kind of interwoven into like black urban culture, even good quote unquote guys probably try to holler at girls in the street as well. I don't know if the young people use the word holler anymore. Apologies. I don't know what the word is.
Probably not.
But so, like, do you have any like specific stories like
Man. Um, of trying to holler at me in the street.
and when you was like I don't know like very afraid maybe or you were angry after the encounter or
I would say I've had weird experience. Like the number one weird experience I've ever had was I was walking home from the train.
was it daytime nighttime?
It was in the daytime. It was after school, so
Okay,
like around like 3, 4, 5. And this was like remember Gypsy Cab era like was heavy.
I do remember that.
Yeah. So you know some of the guys, but you never know like who's new, who's old, who's from a different block. So I'm minding my business. I usually will sometimes I would say hi, sometimes I wouldn't because like I don't want to engage in conversation with y'all. Because I had already had a bad experience with a prior gypsy cab driver. So I kind of just like nah. So keep walking up the hill and from me to the train where I lived to the train, excuse me, was about 15 minutes up a couple hills. And I remember this guy, he had looked at me and he hopped in his car and I was just like, okay. And I just kept walking home. And I remember the way that my parents' house is set up, it's on a block that you can go in from either the back or the front, but you can't tell it's the same house, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So he came around from like the front way, and he's coming this way, and I'm going that way. And this guy stopped in front of me, hopped out the car, and yo, I'm trying to talk to you. Da, 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 da. I would like take you out, whatever, whatever. And I'm just like, I looked and I'm like, that's the same dude from 15 minutes ago.
Oh no. Oh no.
Exactly. And now you're in my territory where
Yeah.
I live? Absolutely not. So thankfully, I'm not the type I don't freak out. I don't know what that's about. Like I may have anxiety attacks and all that, but I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, what's happening? I don't do that. I'm very calm and I'm just like, I death stared him and I said I don't want to talk to you.
Mm.
You need to leave. And I
Uh,
waited for him to get back in the car and I think what did I do? At first I was like, I'm worried if I should go in the
home.
back. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
what I did was I went around the block to the front because it's like you can't tell it's the same house. So that's what I did, and I just made sure he didn't follow me. I told my father, that's the one good thing about like remember we were talking about Blacktopia? I'm telling you, the one good thing about the one good thing about having living in a community of the same people, because he's all Jamaican. The gypsy cab drivers are Jamaican. My father's Jamaican, and my uncle knows these guys.
Hmm.
So what happened the next morning? My dad said, "I'm taking you to the train." I was like, "Oh shoot, what's happening?" Okay, and he said, "You're gonna point out this man to me," and that was it. He's like, "Just point him out to me and stay in the car." So I'm like, "Whoa, what was happening?" I pointed him out. I said, "Oh, there he goes right there." And my dad called over one of the OG gypsy cab drivers. They had a talk. The guy, he brought the young guy over. The guy looked in the car. He looked at me, bug-eyed. And all I heard was, "This one, don't talk to her." And I was like, "It's my dad in the
I
mafia.
know,
What's
right?
happening?"
Damn.
Have a gang leader on the side. So and that's another thing. Like I was safe
Yeah.
ish. And I mean, I've been robbed in the same area, but at the same time, I could just tell my father, like, such and such happened, it handled. Now it's like I'm on my own. I'm in a different city. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, he knows people, but now I carry that with me. Like, I could talk to my father and he knows somebody. I don't know why. I call him a CIA agent all the time, but
But that, okay, so that was a scary story. Um,
it was frightening. I can't
and
lie.
I've heard women, you know, and I really think men just don't have a. See, this is where kind of the sex differences come into such a play because even me, when you said how when you're out on the street and you don't like to look into people's eyes and like men have that to a certain degree. We just don't have
Mm,
the sexual component. So like for us, it's just the violence component. It's like you don't want to look at a dude wrong and he takes it some way and now y'all fighting in the street. You
mhm,
see a gang of dudes hanging out. Sometimes I'll cross the street or just put my head down, keep walking. Just you don't want anything to happen. So us men have that part as well. We don't have kind of the harassment thing that women deal with. Like the guys, hey, yo, what's up, ma? Trying to do that, or even like the
mhm,
leering, right? So they don't
mm.
have to say anything, but they'll just look you up and down as you walk
It's
by.
so uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know, and I think if men could just hear the stories, I think maybe behavior would change because um I'm talking about in the street, and I get seeing a beautiful woman and looking. I'm not gonna lie, like I don't look at beautiful women. I
Mm.
don't I don't I don't like
You don't feel
leer.
the need to chase them down, though. That's where it's like a problem.
Yeah, engaging. You're saying
That's engaging too.
no, no. What I'm saying is engaging. Like if you're not saying or doing anything, you're not engaging somebody. Once you do or say something to somebody, now you're engaging them. What I'm saying is you're saying the engagement is what makes it really like really yeah, the looking and stuff can be uncomfortable, but the engagement when the guy tries to talk to you, or will he like follows you to try to talk to you, or will he yells across the street, hey yo ma, those are the things that really make it a very unpleasant experience walking the street as a woman.
Yeah.
So
I
again, should we just get rid of talking to women in the street? I vote yes.
It's weird. I used to think about this because it's like I understand the plight for y'all.
What play?
There's really no winning. There's really no winning because you could
I,
try. Hmm?
yeah, explain the plight to me. I don't understand what the plight is for us.
In the sense of like I said, like there's really no way to know for like this is a surefire way, and I'm not gonna get cussed out or called a predator or whatever if I try to engage on the street in a respectful way. In my experience, like those go over better. Like I'm more willing to at least have a conversation with you, or if you want to walk with me for a second, that's fine. But if you're like,
Whoa, time out, time out, time out. See, I got it, Brown. See, this is where I have to give you some true crime experience. All right. Now I'm telling you, I gotta
not
give you
walk with
some
me
true.
home or anything,
No,
but
no,
like,
no. But see, you opening the door. I'm telling you, man. Those are the ones you gotta watch. Right? It's not the it's not the guys that make you feel uncomfortable from jump. It's the guys that you feel, this ain't that bad. Those those are the ones that put you in the car.
oh my God,
I'm telling you.
that's never happened to me. So.
This is why I'm like, I don't see the point like, so what would even be a respectful way to engage a woman in the street who you don't know?
Me personally,
Mm-hmm.
the experiences that I've had, if a guy comes up to me, he's just like, hey, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, but I did see you and I'm interested and I would like to talk to you.
Interested in what?
I'm interested in getting to know you. I feel
Why?
like you're a beautiful woman. I would like to talk to you. That's
I want some
fine.
sex. Okay.
Obviously,
All
off
right.
rip, because that's all you can see in the
Yeah.
moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if you're being aggressive about it and like pulling on me and like walking in front of me, calling me all types of names, I'm less likely to talk to you. But if you actually talk to me, that's you have a better chance.
Yeah, but
So
how
that's
much
what
better? Like,
any percentage is better than zero.
but not if it's like, remember, we're trying to create a policy that works for everyone.
Policy, what are you, a councilman?
No, I'm saying, right? If we're trying to create streets that are safe for men and women, streets that men and women can walk
It'll
for the
never be
most
that.
part, what happened?
It will never be that.
Well, yes, but we can try to create a culture though. Cultures
It'll
change all the time. There was a time where you didn't talk to a woman in the street like that. Like that
and
existed.
there was a time when you did, but that was because there was more community,
And
I feel.
patriarchy. But what I
Exactly.
want to say, yeah. So what I'm saying is, should we get rid of approaching women in the street? Yes or
How
no?
are you gonna? I don't know. I don't know.
There
I guess
was
in this, I guess yes, because everything's going
okay.
towards online, digital, and AI. At this point, what is the point in talking to each other? But that sucks. Like,
But why does
dang.
this suck? We're not saying don't talk to women in public. We're saying in the street. You can talk to them in a coffee shop. You can talk to them in like a place, like like you said, a grocery store. Even though I disagree. I heard from
Okay, fine. A coffee shop or like, okay, let's use Starbucks. Starbucks is perfect. A Dunkin' Donuts.
yeah.
But who's really going in there? Sometimes you order. That's also a disadvantage because a lot of people like myself, I will order ahead. I'll go in just to pick up, and I'm gone. And somebody could see me and be like, "Dang, I want to talk to her, but she's in and out. What you gonna do? Chase me in the street?
I
No.
mean, so here's another thing though. So you make a good point that there's always the risk of coming across creepy, inappropriate as a man approaching a woman
Hmm.
in almost any setting too.
Hmm.
Outside of a party, so outside of places that are specifically designed for um appropriate romantic gestures or like the possibility of hooking up, like bars, parties, like those settings are kind of designed. You get put like this, you get more leadway in those areas, in those arenas, than you do like in a party. I could go up to you, Brianna, and like music's playing really loud. I'll go up to you and talk closer to you than I would normally. That happens at parties and bars, right? Like
That's
you kind
also
of accept,
hookup.
huh?
That's more so hookup culture though. That's not for anything serious. That's you might as well just online date for that.
Yeah, but I'm saying people meet, but even if you meet somebody at a bar or a party, it doesn't mean that it can't. Hey, it doesn't mean that you're gonna hook up with this person. You can be like, hey, let's go out, you know, Saturday night or Friday night or whatever. I'm not saying that happens. I'm saying it can happen. But my point is, you get more leadway in these
You don't even
places.
believe that.
I said you get more leadway in these places than you do out in like Starbucks or real life, so to speak. So there's always a risk of being creepy and inappropriate. And I tell men all the time, the line between, and I think Hollywood it
So
messes
much.
us up too.
So much.
No, because like things could play out in your head as like smooth or romantic or like this would be a good strategy, and it could be terrifying for the woman on the receiving end.
Hmm.
But
I
some of
agree.
us don't really mean for it to be harassing though. So that does exist. Like a guy who can be viewed by a woman as his approach was inappropriate and he
Hmm.
was genuinely trying not to be inappropriate. He was just, for example,
Yeah, please. I need one.
like uh you go to fast food joint by your job for lunch all the time. You see a woman working the counter, and you happen to run into her on her lunch break outside,
Hmm.
right? And you'll now, okay, this is my chance to talk to her and engage with her, right? So you engage, and she could leave because for some reason I know this because I've worked at a movie theater before. You just feel safer at your job behind the counter. I don't know what it is. It's like the moment you step out of that building, it's like that protection goes
It's
away.
gone. Yeah.
So that woman could feel like very, you know, uh
Hmm.
just like, oh whoa, like
Unprotected.
the guy was genuinely trying not to be creepy and try to get her number at the job. And so he's like, oh, now I have this woman is outside of the workplace. I can engage. So he was
Hmm.
trying to be appropriate, but she, because like we just talked about the protection being gone, she feels like, oh my god. So he's
Hmm.
kind of the harasser in her story when he was trying his best to be. You see what I'm saying? That happens,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
and
unfortunately.
there's always the risk as a man of being viewed that way when
Hmm.
trying to, uh, especially if you're not smooth. Like I'm not smooth, which is why I don't approach women in public at all. I'm not. I'm not smooth. I'm not smooth. I need a lot of pretext to engage. So, you
I
know,
would love to see as an experiment. You trying you trying to engage with a woman. That would be top tier
like cold turkey.
entertainment.
I tried it one time and it didn't go well.
I want to see your process. Like when you're interested in a woman, like what does Jabaya do?
So the first thing I do is I this is gonna sound bad.
I'm here for it.
I stalk, but not stalk in like a bad way.
There's a good way.
No, for example, let's say if I don't know, if me, you, and some friends went bowling, right? You brought
Hmm.
some girls with you. One of them I thought was like, oh, my type, right?
Hmm.
I just get there. I'm a survey the scene to see if she's with somebody,
Hmm.
right? Because if it's a bunch of mixed, gendered friend groups, you don't know who's with who, so you always want to make sure that you get your information. And that takes a little
Correct.
long. I don't do like some guys do. Oh, she ain't with my 1 minute in, cool, I'm going for it. Nah, sit,
You don't
survey,
ask.
huh?
You don't ask the source of like you wouldn't ask me like, hey, is that your friend? Is she like I feel like that's normal.
So that is true, and that I would do. But let's say, you know, she wasn't your friend. She's like a friend of a friend who came with you, right? So you don't know this
Right.
person. Now, of
I
course, I
still
could say,
ask.
"Hey, can you find out for me?" You could do that, but
Yeah,
you know, I'm someone who's more of this. I have eyes. I could just watch, and listen, for a while. Just gather information. But I'm someone who is terrified to engage with women I don't know.
it's understandable though.
Yeah,
I don't like engaging with men I don't know unless they come to me first.
I'm the same way. I need either a lot of pretext, like I kind of know this person,
Mhm.
or I need um no, I think that's it. I need a lot of pretext. A lot of pretext. I don't
I
like
don't
approaching women.
I don't fault you for that.
Yeah, I'm scared of rejection.
I would say there you could have a missed opportunity with waiting and watching though, because
It
what if
happens
they're
all the
only
time.
there
It happens all there's so many
and you're
women.
okay with that?
I'm not, but it's like this is something that I've struggled with for a while where it's like I feel like I've missed out on a lot of opportunities. And this is not just a woman thing. I mean life, because I
Mhm.
just wasn't aggressive.
And we're
But
still young enough to change that.
no, yeah, but then you look at guys who are too aggressive. So it's like, where's the sweet spot? It's like you miss out if you're not aggressive.
Mhm.
You could potentially hurt somebody if you're too aggressive. And for me, I know for some guys, hurting people doesn't bother them.
Yeah, that is a fact.
Like for me, if I knew I hurt somebody, it does bother me. I could try to pretend like it doesn't, but
Hmm.
it does. And I always try to rectify situations. I always try to, yeah, I don't know. Brianna has this,
Aaron.
Saryn has this wild misconception that I don't
Oh.
care. I don't know where this came from. I was the most caring person in high school. This is not even debatable. This is
It's
not
not
even debatable.
debatable.
It's
Excuse me,
not.
sir. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Squeeze me. Squeeze
I
me.
was the most.
I've known you since 2007.
That is true.
You hear me? 2007, sir. What do you mean? Um,
Yes.
yes, I knew you in your developmental stage when you were a black hole of judgment and condescendence. What's the word?
Yeah, kind of condescension.
Condescension. Thank you. That sounds like it. Did you say condensate? Like condensation? That's how it almost sounded.
Yeah, like condescending, condensation, right? I got the right word.
No, condensation is like when
Wait,
water's
so
on
what's
the.
the word for what's the past? Hold on. Now I'm gonna look this up. Hold on.
Look it up real quick. We
Conden
need to go back to school. Well, I need to go back to school. You in school. Why you don't know the word condescending, condes oh my
hold on.
gosh, who is this
Past
person?
tense of conden condescend condescending. Oh, no, this is the wrong. I don't know. I was a black hole of being condescending. Just put it that way. And once again, I think that is not true.
How do you really view yourself? High school you. High school you
I
was
view high school me,
mean.
but you never give me an example.
How many times
And to who was I mean
you
to?
were who weren't you mean to? I could you know how many conversations I because I've kept in contact with a lot of people from high school.
Give me
And
names.
you and it was always Jabaya. Oh God,
Isaac,
I forget the no, 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 not Isaac.
Michael.
I forget that guy's name. He was a grade or two above us, and he used to just provoke people on Facebook to the point where we all like deleted him. I can't remember his name, but he was in the same grade as like Sharif and them, and Tim and Mookie and Gary. I
And
think like a
Rondell and them.
grade. Yeah, they he was like a grade or two above us,
I don't know him.
provoking, and
But
it
can we
was
get back to me?
always I was about to say it was always
Okay.
you and him just provoking and like
But
the
who are
the
we?
way I'm not shouting out nobody's names
Why not?
because
See, this is the
hello,
problem. This is the
no, it's
problem
not a
because
problem.
Yes, it is. This is how rumors start.
It's not a rumor.
I'm asking you for the
Because you don't
evidence.
know does not mean it's a rumor. But I've had conversations with some women from high school, and they were just like, "Oh yeah, Jabaya used to always the way you used to speak. Used to look the
Who
word
are we
that
talking
is
about?
important is that used to, right? The operative word is used in the past. So I will
Yes,
agree that you have changed, but it's still shell like the essence of shell shock is there because it's just like, who is this person? I'm not used to this.
but I don't know. I don't remember this. That I'm
Of
so
course you don't
and
remember because
the
you've
way
gone
you see
through
no, I'm saying the way you see yourself is often not the way other people experienced you. So I'm asking to try to figure it out, but you just never give me like an example.
because
Like,
I don't hold on to the past by we
but you
let
remember it
things
enough.
go.
I'm trying to see
Enough
who are
to
these
know that
people.
like like you have changed.
Are
Don't
we
worry
talking
about
about
who they are.
Sylvia?
I don't keep in contact with Sylvia. Why Sylvia? Oh, do tell.
I'm
What
trying to
happened?
think of the people
That was
I
so
used to.
random.
I the women who I was around the most back in high school were you,
But
Shannon.
I will say, yeah, Sylvia used to say how you just don't know how to talk to people. And you would just say anything and there was no filter and you just didn't care how it affected the person. Because you would say that. You'd be like, I don't care how it affects you. It's the truth. Even the other day, you were just like,
Oh
you
wait,
didn't
hold on.
care.
Was it the truth? Be honest.
I don't remember if it was the truth all the time. I can't. I'm not gonna lie. I can't say for sure it was always the truth.
Okay, because
It could have just been your truth.
I feel like a lot of people live in the world for the lies and then expect me to go along with the lie that they built around them. I'm not going to do that. I'm serious. Why would I do that?
You don't have to live in a world of lies, but your delivery could be. It's gotten better, I will say, and for me too. Both of our deliveries, excuse me, have
So the
impressively
only women
progressed.
I were around a lot,
Was
Sylvia, you, Shannon, of course,
Zunelvi.
Zunelvi. I know Zunelvi didn't say nothing bad about me. Zunelvi, Janae,
Oh
Nika,
yeah, I talk to Janae all the time.
Nika. Who else? Dominique, Jaleesa. That was kind
Who's
of it, really.
yeah,
Yeah, so I don't out of all those people, I was really trying to push up on Jaleesa a lot in high school.
and
Uh
Shannon.
yeah, I was gonna say I won. I didn't did I accomplish that? I didn't accomplish no, see, I'm trying to pick my words wisely.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
should have
no,
thought about that first.
no, what I'm saying is that we dated, but
For
but
like 2 seconds.
it doesn't matter. The point
No, that don't
is
count. Back to Jaleesa.
the point is the other women I never was able to make anything happen with. But I remember like,
Uh,
flirting with them and, doing that. But
who
I
else
don't
did you want to get with?
no. What I'm saying is I used to push up on Jaleesa a lot in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I used to
Mm-hmm.
push up on Dominique in physics class. I used to push up on
I was so specific.
I just remember the class we had together is physics. I I
You
used
said
to
forget the other 8 periods, just physics.
I used to um make out with Janae on the staircase.
I
I
did
used
not
to
know that.
yeah, Janae and I think Nika too. Um
Oh my God.
I was never ever
Did they listen to this?
I don't think so. But it wouldn't matter. This is like years ago. They're like Janae's married, Nika's somewhere. But no, I'm saying like, she's fine somewhere. But that's what I'm trying to figure out what could I have said to these people.
You were just very open and
Now, me and Janae
brash.
had history, so she don't count. I'm saying she might say something bad about me, but me
Hmm.
and her actually had like a relationship
It's not
without
that it
having a
was
relationship.
bad. It was just be like, danger, but I just don't have no filter. You don't have a filter. You didn't care how it affected people.
I
Now
did care.
no, you didn't.
That's what I'm trying to see. And this is where we disagree. You see, you're taking the impact for me not caring, and I disagree. You owe the people you care about the most the honesty. For example, I remember when I first started gaining weight, and my father This was after my back injury. Oh, it was before my was it before my back injury or after my back? It
I
was
think it was after.
I think it was after my back injury. Got really depressed. Just started eating, put on a ton of weight. And my father, who loves me more than anyone in this world, had to tell me, "You're fat."
Gee. Just straight out the gate.
Right? Now he didn't say it like that. He tried to do it fatherly, but it was pretty much, you're fat. Now I hurt. It was
Mhm.
it was an objective truth. It still hurts to hear.
So what you're saying is you had love for us. That's why you had no filter for us.
I don't remember saying anything bad to you. If anything, I
Of course not.
remember, huh?
I said, of course not.
I don't remember that at all. I remember one time, me and you only had one weird interaction. I'm not gonna bring it up, but I remember it. But
Oh, come on. Now I need to. I mean,
I,
obviously not
I,
on here, but we're definitely gonna talk.
yeah, it was one. It was it was one weird interaction. That was it. Sylvia, yeah. I mean, but all these girls don't tell you how they used to treat me as well,
When
though.
did we ever had an? I'm sorry. I'm
We was on
breaking
a
my
trip. I don't
brain.
know where we was going or coming from. We was on like a school bus.
You and me?
Yeah, it was weird. It was a weird interaction. It wasn't anything like well, it wasn't appropriate, but on my end, not yours.
I don't. Oh, because I was about
Yeah,
to say I don't
not
remember
you, not
doing
you. Yeah,
nothing.
but my my point is, all of these girls who had a problem with my delivery, they never tell you how they used to interact towards me though, as well. See, that's the part of your equation you don't get.
Remember seeing them only speak to you a certain way because of how you would speak to them, or not even to them. Like, say if we were, because we were all big on having like just general discussions. You remember that, right? Especially
I
during lunchtime,
But
or
girls,
you would say something outlandish and it would just spark a conversation. That's just usually how it went. You specifically would say something, or
like
say if we were
what?
having a conversation. I don't remember specifically, but it would happen a lot. It wouldn't be like on purpose. You would just say like whatever you felt in that moment, and then because we all usually had the same classes, so it was usually the same group of
Yes,
people, and we would just it would spark this huge thing, and it was constant like never agreeing with each other.
I don't remember this at all. Like this is what I remember. Lunch, I used to hang out with Isaac, Michael, Irvin, and then I would like go to table to table to table to all the different groups. Like,
So think about that when you would go from table to table,
but I don't
something
remember me
out.
starting no like big arguments.
No, and I'm not saying it would be an argument. That was the wrong term to use. It would just be like a big debate, but it would go on. It wouldn't just like, we don't agree, let's move on. Be like, no, we gotta prove a point, and it gotta be proved before the lunch bell rings.
This is
It wouldn't die. Like, just leave it alone.
I don't
And
remember this.
you
Uh
were the king of saying something outlandish. Yeah, it could very well be the truth, but it was just like, oh my God, like, can you just deliver it a little bit? At that time, I would say, I can't speak for everybody, but I would assume that we just didn't like, not that we didn't like, but it was just like if you're coming in saying something that's outlandishly true, it was just a delivery we weren't willing to accept. So I will agree with you there. We were living in a world of lies, and who am I? So whatever you said.
hey man, I'm telling you. Because I don't even remember me having like I have a lot more controversial opinions now than I think I did back then. I was kind of still, believing a lot of the same stuff. You know, I don't,
Mhm.
I don't remember me having like countercultural beliefs back then. I don't remember it.
I feel like you did, but only like on Facebook. Like you see how you're posting all your memories now?
I was wild back then. That so yeah, some of those memories I'd be like, oh boy, I was wild. Some of those memories I'd be like, yeah, I was wild.
But
But
that's
that was just
also what I'm talking about. A lot of
yes, okay,
people.
that's true. And I know the girls got upset when I made my list as well. I remember that.
Mm, oh
But that
my God. Yo, y'all were different. Do you remember that stupid song? Were you on that song?
what song?
It was Michael, I think Isaac, Kenny, that whole group of guys made a song.
I wasn't on the song, but I know the song you're talking about. They
Oh
used to
my
record it right on
God.
Kenny's attic. I used to go back there.
Yes.
It used to be me, Mike, Irvin, Kenny, Quanisha used to come with us.
How is Quanisha? Do you keep in contact with her? I think about her from time to time.
I ran into her like one time on like Tremont.
I hope she's okay.
I think she's a teacher now or something.
Really?
I think so. Pretty sure.
That's dope. That makes me
Pretty
happy.
sure. Yeah, and Isaac. So yeah, but the list I remember was like a big thing. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was a pretty objective list.
That sparked so. Can you imagine that now? Because
I know
that
I'll get expelled. And that happened now. We would have got expelled from school. That's that.
that caused such an uproar.
And I didn't get why, because it was like we voted, like we had a
Hmm.
whole, cause we had a private Facebook group, so we voted on the girls. It was like some fighting back and forth on who, and then we put it out. I thought it was a fair,
Should have never
objective,
don that.
good list. I thought it was a good
Should
list.
should never put it out because then
Y'all
that
try to
caused
do
so
one,
many issues. Yeah, I remember that.
but it wasn't as fun. I was like, y'all are trying to be vindictive, but it ain't a good list.
Yeah, yeah.
Our list was pure. Your list was out of vengeance. That's the same.
Shut up, because your pure list caused so many issues in the girl between us girls. Oh my goodness. Because we
I don't know
already didn't
why.
like each other. We didn't like each other. None of us liked each other. And so like to have this list where like y'all probably didn't intend to pit us against each other. Well, maybe you didn't, but it pitted us against each other even worse.
No, I will say this. Looking back on the things that I did back then, you can kind of see, because you read studies on, like high schoolers and the way boys and girls engage with each other, and self-esteem issues, body image issues. That wasn't on our minds back then. Like, so of course I wouldn't create no list like that now, knowing what I know now as a 30, almost 30-year-old man. But that
Hmm.
was something that kids did. Well, boys are not really good people in high school, but but just like because you're growing into yourself,
Hmm.
and so of course, but it wasn't no maliciousness behind it. I still would take it back, of course. Now
Oh,
I,
wow.
I would take it back now. Yeah,
See, I wouldn't expect you to say that. That's very big of you.
yeah. But
I'm proud
look,
of you.
we are at an hour.
We're past that hour.
I know we're an hour and 5 minutes. This was
I
this
probably
is
got a ticket on my car.
a cool. Yeah, you probably do. This is a cool.
Too late now.
It's a good first show for us. We got some one topic today, but I'm glad that you fleshed out for us from the
Mhm.
woman's perspective what it's like walking the streets. Um,
You're welcome.
Disagree with you in a supermarket, but everything else, I was like, this is pretty good, pretty good stuff here.
I'm telling you, try it. You may come up on someone who likes, I don't know.
Wait, quick before we finish,
Yeah, go
if
ahead.
you had to list places men should approach women at, what places would that be? Just to help the guys out.
Crowded places. Well, no, let me not say that because then now with the human trafficking thing, that's also a concern. Starbucks, coffee shops, somewhere that's like has an easygoing atmosphere. That's
Okay,
why I said the grocery store because it's easygoing. As long as it's not a Saturday morning, do not approach a woman on a Saturday morning. Don't do it. Just don't do it. That's not a good idea. But if it's during the week, that's fine. If it's between the hours of like 10 to 5, you're good.
all
Nobody's in a
right.
rush. But I would stick to coffee shops, supermarket. Who knows? Maybe like the doctor's office. No,
What?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, who would?
I
What?
reneged that. I reneged that. I reneged that.
Hey,
Um,
girl, let me get your number. I know you're in pain right now, but
because you could easily be like, "Oh, hey, what are you here for?" But that could go
see,
left
I
real
have a
quick.
no. See, I think you should approach women. So, all right, now you have to keep an open mind.
Okay.
If you want sex,
Hmm.
abortion clinics, but before they go inside,
You
right
know how
before,
distraught a person is going into an abortion? You're literally
you
going
know what?
into a
I agree.
cemetery.
So as they come out,
That's even worse. You
No,
just
they're
got cut
they're raw. You can offer
literally.
emotional support. Like, look, I know I don't agree with what you did, but God got a plan for you. Something like that.
I don't
Uh,
agree with what you did, but let me stick this into
no, no,
your
no.
hole in 4 to 6 weeks.
Now I will say you probably won't be viewed as a good person, or you ain't gonna feel good about yourself. But this is just if you don't care about that. Abortion clinics is a good spot. Now this second one is dangerous, but
Hmm.
STD clinics. Now let me explain. Let me explain. Oh, hold on. Let me explain. You know she's having sex. Why would she be at the STD clinic?
That she probably caught something, or she's worried that she caught something.
No, people go if you have a regular active sex life, you're supposed to be going every 3 months. Like whether you think you have anything or not. They say that all the time.
I wouldn't know. So,
Well, yeah, yeah. So you know that's a place to go. Like now, the obvious risk is um, uh, like you just said. You got to be careful, make sure that she don't have one of those incurables. But a little chlamydia, a little
a little
that's like a shot or two. Is that pills? You get it just goes away.
chlamydia. I think chlamydia is a pill.
And gonorrhea, yeah, that's not a big deal. But you know that they're active, right? For the most part.
A little too
Um,
active.
Maybe, but you're in. So that's a good spot. So we have the abortion clinic, we have the STD clinic.
You
Uh
have to really not care about yourself if you're willing to pick up someone who's getting prescriptions for a venereal disease. I'm sorry.
but no, but you don't know that. You just know that they're getting tested. Like I go to the STD clinic. I went like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, you talked about it on the last show.
Yes, I went for a reason. But some people go just they, they just go
I was
just
laughing so hard at you.
they just go just cause, right? So that's a good spot to go. Ooh, there's another one. Parent teacher night. Now,
I like that.
is that not a lot? Unfortunately, this is a bad thing, but there's a lot of single moms, right, who go to parent teacher night, and their boys aren't doing that well. These kids can't read. They can't read. No, I'm no serious. A study just came out showing how like far behind the kids are. Black kids are reading, compared to
Really?
like, oh yeah, they can't read at all. So
Dang.
chances are the child won't be doing well in school,
Hmm.
right? So you can, hey, I overheard the teacher talking about Lil Thomas, he can't really read that well. You know, don't sorry to tell you that I'm actually a really good reader. I have all sorts of books that I read. You know, Green Eggs and Ham. One Fish, Two Fish, Cat in the Hat. I
Are
have
those
no
the only
problem.
books you can read,
I
sir?
have no. I have
Dr.
no.
Seuss books? Can you read the dictionary?
I have no problem helping little man. We can go out on Saturdays to the park. You know, and then once you get there, don't teach them nothing. Just hit on the mom. So that's the third place you can go. That's a parent teacher night at schools.
Hmm.
Uh,
That's
fourth,
corny.
yeah, but you can listen. I said this is if you don't care about being a good person. This is just if
Right,
you want
right.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you want to be a good person, I have no advice of when to go.
Oh my God. You see? You see? There,
No, I'm
there's
just
that
saying
ultra bias.
I have no advice where to go. Also, Girl Scout season. The girl they have the tables out in some
Hmm.
places, right?
Hmm.
Ooh, bake sales in general. Anywhere where they're selling like pastries, there's like women around.
True.
So like
But that's
bake
also a
sale.
little creepy because there's also little girls around.
No, yeah. So she's right about this point. So you have to come with like a kid. So take your sister's son with you. No, you're right. It's gonna look weird if you're just by yourself. Like people are gonna be like, oh no, that he gotta call the police. So you are right. You gotta go with a kid though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your sister's son or your baby cousin or whatever. Come with a kid, a pastry eating age. Bring them with you to the bake sale or the pastry sale, whatever. Now, this last spot I don't recommend at all. people will, but I say stay as far away from churches as humanly possible. If
Oh,
you
here
are,
we go.
I'm just saying, and I'm going to end the show. We're running a little bit over time, but I just need this needs to be said. I don't think churches really have good women like that, like they think they do. No offense to, yeah, not you though. I'm talking about just in general. I think people think. Remember how you have this perception of me in high school, and I had my perception of me in high school, and the truth is probably somewhere in the middle.
My side, yeah.
If you want to think that, that's probably the same thing. But what I'm saying, it's like I think women in the church think they are good women.
Hmm.
I don't think they are good women. So somewhere in the middle is how they actually are. And
Dang.
if you're a guy, you will run the mistake because a lot of women in church want to get married. And so,
That is the main goal.
yeah, if you're a guy and you're just looking for some ass, you don't want the constant pressure of where's this going, and now don't get it wrong, a lot of girls in the church will give it up, trust me, but not trust me like that, just what I've heard, but that pressure for marriage is going to be there, um and it will drive you insane. And you
That
you,
is
you don't
true.
want to make the mistake if you're someone who doesn't want to get married right now. You don't want you could easily get talked into a lot by a beautiful woman. So that's just my, those are the places. If you don't care about being a good person, these are the places you can go uh to find a woman who is, going to give you some. So don't say I never told you anything or helped you guys out, because I have. And yeah, thank you for
Gotta love a good cliffhanger. Okay.
this is the great podcast. We talked about one thing today. But it was dope. I think, maybe next time we'll get into, you know, the whole single mom thing.
I'm
Um,
invited back. Oh my
I think, yeah, I do want to hear about, what it's like dating as a single woman, how a single mom, excuse me, how different that is versus dating as a single woman,
God.
versus dating as a single dad, versus dating as a single man. Does age matter? Is it harder to date in your 30s than your 20s?
Do you know any
Uh,
single dads? It would be kind of interesting to like.
I don't know any single dads really. All the dads that I know are. This is an interesting question. If you're not with the mom, but you're in a relationship, are you a single dad?
If it's not with the mom, yeah, you are a single dad.
Interesting. So maybe I do know some single. I don't know. Most of my friends still don't have kids. Male friends. Most of my female friends have kids. So
I
if
just
there's
love the way this is set up. It's so great. So awesome.
uh
Go world.
if you want to give any plugs, this is your time. I know you want to plug that single you got coming out.
Mm. So y'all. Sorry. I do have 3 songs out right now, and they are everywhere. They stream everywhere under Saryn Bios, Saryn space VYO. It's everywhere. If you want to find me on social media, everywhere. I have a song coming out called Speak to Me. It is my very first song that is coming from the standpoint of Christ to the, I guess you could say the church or to the people. And I'm very proud of it. I wrote it back in 2018, and so to finally put it out is a big deal to me. And it's a bop. It kind of sounds like Four-Page Letter in the sense of that 90s vibe, but the message is obviously very different. But that should be dropping. We're in September now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking to drop that maybe the last week of September, maybe. I'm gonna be filming the visualizer tomorrow, and I want to drop everything together. So if you guys do look me up, I will post like an official date on my Instagram, most likely. Yeah.
All right. And I'll have, her socials in the show notes so you can find what you need to find, where she's at on Instagram. She's not on Twitter, well X,
Mm-mm.
so don't ask.
Mm-mm. Don't ask.
As always, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Tell two friends
Yes.
about the show. That's how the show grows. All of my credentials, not credentials, all of my all of my all of my links will be in the show notes too. My Twitter,
Get it together.
my Twitter and stuff. Yeah, I don't have any other projects coming right now at all. I'm in school, so that's where my time is focused. Um, but
Looking
thank
forward
you.
to some school stories.
I hope not, because if I
I
have
hope
school
so.
stories, it means I'm not doing well. But yeah, so thank you for rocking with us. We will see you in a week's time, God willing. Until then, deuces.
Bye.